Hi folks, and welcome back to Meaningful Money. Okay, I'm here on Long Rock Beach, St Michael's Mount, over my shoulder there. Not a bad day, a little bit overcast, but quite warm. Right, we're carrying on our series on equity release, and we talked about lifetime mortgages last time, and this time we're talking about the other main type of equity release solution, much as I hate that word, and that is home reversion plans. Now, I nearly forgot then, before we get into the meat of that, as ever, my good friends down here in the bottom right, Seven Investment Management, who sponsor the show. I'm very grateful to them, so thank you guys in London. Right, home reversion plans. They aim to do exactly the same thing as a lifetime mortgage. They aim to achieve the same result, which is to release a lump sum or some income from the value of your property, but they do it in a completely different way. Rather than you borrow money from an equity release provider, instead now you are selling your property. So it's a completely different kind of transaction. It's not a loan, it's a sale to the home reversion provider of either all or part of your property. And those are the two main types, either a whole reversion, where you sell all of your property to the provider, or a partial reversion, where you sell part of your property to the provider. Now, in order for there to be something in this for the home reversion provider, if you sell all your property, they won't give you its market value. It's very important that you understand that. You are selling either part or all of your property to them at a reduced price. And the sort of difference between the market value and what you sell it to them for is effectively their win on the deal. So whole and partial reversions, you then become a tenant. You don't own the property anymore, or maybe you still own part of it if you've done a partial reversion, in which case you are both a part owner and a part tenant. If you sold the whole thing to the home reversion provider, you are now just a tenant of your own property. But in practice, as far as you, the occupier, is concerned, nothing much has changed. You should still live in the property for life. You don't pay rent as such. If you do, it's a peppercorn, sort of £1 a year, something like that, just to make it a valid contract under English and Welsh law. But for everyday circumstances, nothing changes. You can just live there and everything carries on as normal. You just no longer own the property. But you do have some cash in the bank because that's what, the sale proceeds. So, a couple of variations worth mentioning. Very often you can negotiate a larger cash sum from the reversion provider in exchange for you paying them a monthly rent, more than just the peppercorn then. So maybe you pay them a couple of £100 a month in rent. They will release more, they will give you more for your property. Sometimes if you do a partial reversion, so you sell a bit of your property to the reversion company now, they will allow you to sell a bit more to them in future. That's the Isles of Scilly helicopter going just over there. So hopefully you can still hear me. If you do a partial reversion, you may be able to do more in future, thereby releasing more money. Some reversion providers actually include a clause which will allow you to buy the property back at some point in the future. I'm not quite sure why you would want to do that, but maybe you or your kids come into some money or something and they want to undo the transaction. They can buy the property back from the reversion provider. But generally, it's an irreversible transaction, so it's very important you understand what you're doing if you're considering this. And finally, there is something sometimes called a minimum inheritance guarantee, which is just a clause whereby if you die very early after the agreement, it's almost like what is sometimes called an embarrassment clause. It just means that there is a minimum value to your estate if you've done the transaction very soon before you pass away. But anyway, those are just a few variations on the theme. Now, probably the sort of biggest attraction of these things is that you can generally release more from the value of your property under a home reversion than you can under a lifetime mortgage. Anything up to 60%. With a lifetime mortgage, realistically, you're looking at a 25% of the value of your property you can release, maybe a little more in certain circumstances. But the amount you can release, under either scheme is dependent on your age and your health. So the older you are and the less healthy you are, the more you can release from the value of your property. So that's home reversions plan. Home reversion plans. It's a sale, not a mortgage, and therefore it's a big decision, not something to be taken lightly. I hope that's sort of helpful as a very initial outline. Leave any questions under the video here, either on Facebook, on the site, or YouTube, or wherever, and I'll do my best to answer them. Now, next time I'm going to address a particular concern of lifetime mortgages where the interest is rolled up, because there is a sort of assumption or a fear from borrowers that the interest on their mortgage is going to just roll up and snowball away and just become a massive debt. I'm going to deal with that next time. So thanks for watching this time, and goodbye from Long Rock Beach.